Good evening and welcome to the Formula Racing League Round 5 takes us to the Paul Ricard circuit in Le Castellet, Marseille, France. Well, it's level pegging at the top of the championship between Dixon, who has 2 wins to his name, to Big Boss Bowles' 1. So who will come away as the championship leader at the end of this one? I'm Tom Cairnes in the commentary box, giving you the details for tonight's showing and keeping you up to date with everything that's happening in Tier 1 in the FRL. It'll be a full qualifying session, 18 minutes of Q1, 15 minutes of Q2 and 12 minutes of Q3 to determine who will line up where. We'll be losing the slowest 5 drivers at the end of the first part of qualifying. So we're just waiting for the session to begin now. And we should get underway. In terms of what happened last week in Melbourne, it was a convincing victory for Big Balls, or Kevin as he's known as. He won his first race of the season because Dixon wasn't around, so he was able to claw back the gap of which Dixon built up in the opening rounds of the season. And Dan Murphy is also not around tonight, so his place is taken by Robin. Miles is also in place of Wild Dog in the Mercedes. And that is all the reserves who've been called in for tonight. And we just see a car making its way out onto the racetrack. Can't tell what car that is. It looks like an Alpine that is heading out on the circuit. That might be Terrades, but it could well be a Williams. It's the Warrior. It'll be wanting to get a time on the board. It is around about a 90-second lap is the Paul Ricard circuit, so the drivers won't want to be waiting too long. It will be getting more congested as the session goes on, especially for those who will be fighting to stay in qualifying. More drivers heading out of the pits now. We've got Dixon out on the circuit with Jack, DNF as well. William likewise. Warrior Huntsman, Pinmis, Romans Republic. Warrior, as we can see on our screen, and Miles as well. So we've got a total of 10 cars on circuit now. We'll make that 11 because one of the McLarens is heading out on circuit. There'll be Swinney. As Warrior comes round to start a flying lap in the Alpine. We're hoping that no one impedes him on his run. A scenario who stays out of the way, thankfully, as the Warrior goes through turns 1 and 2. And he brakes for the hotel chicane. In terms of traffic, Warrior should be okay. I don't know if the rain will come down later on in qualifying. Answers on a postcard. The Warrior posts a 50.2 by sector 2, so he's on course for a really good lap time actually, providing he keeps his car within the track limits for the remainder of the lap, which he doesn't do, and he'll have to go round again. Now, who's next behind him? Who's on the lap? Well, Romans Republic is on a fast lap. Pinmis is on a fast lap as well. So to see who else is around almost to complete a lap. Here's Dixon, championship leader. He's hoping for a good session here. Jack over the line for 1:30.7. I reckon Dixon will beat that by quite some way. It's a 1:29.6, over a second quicker than his teammate. Pimis goes second on 1:30.3. And we look at William, who's coming into the last turn now. And the start time is a 1:30.8. That's the slowest of all the time so far. Rome's Republic goes third with a 1:30.4. Murray Huntsman posting a 1:30.9 in the McLaren. Here is Scenario in the AlphaTauri. He's aiming for a good time here. 50.1 by sector 2. So who will make it through into the second part of qualifying and who will be missing out? Well, Bowie's still in the pits at the moment, as is Lynx. Fate Scouser has yet to come out of the pits as well. He's probably waiting until the traffic has calmed down. The Scenario coming over the line for AlphaTauri. It's a 1:30.5, goes fifth fastest. A tenth of a second behind his teammate Rome's Republic. Here's Carlos Killer. Had a better time in Australia. Hoping to keep that form up here in France. Where is he by the second sector? It's only 51.0 for the man who I believe is from Manchester. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's the car turning into turn 12. And through Galaban he comes. Through Tor. And then the sharp right-hander of Pont, which will take him to the line. And Carlos will go over to post a 1:31.7. And he only goes 12th with that, so he's definitely going to need to find some improvement in that. Statistic King, who will be serving a Q3 ban, providing he does get into Q3, of course. He's only 11th so far with 1:31.5 in the Red Bull. Here's Robin, who's on the medium compound. He's exceeded track limits, unfortunately, so he'll have to go again, I'm afraid. Rome's Republic in the AlphaTauri. Looking for an improvement here. So Dixon fastest by nearly half a second. That's not to determine the grid. The only places that will determine the grid in this session are the bottom 5. And Rome's Republic looking to go better than before. He does go better. He goes up to second place with 1:29.9. So he's less than, or just over 0.2 away from Dixon's fastest time. And Statistic King looks like he's crashed on the exit of turn 10 there. And that is his qualifying session over already, whatever happens. So Statistic King will be going no further in this qualifying session. The lap time he posted, it would put him 11th, but because of his crash, he's sent down to 15th place. We could lose 6 drivers at the end of the session if none of the bottom 5 better Statistic King's time. Snow looking to improve on his time. If he does so, goes up to 4th place. We'll make 30.2 for him. Here's Kevin in the Ferrari, who's exceeded track limits, so he'll have to go again, I'm afraid, on that one. Here's Mikey, otherwise known as SpongeBob, on the graphic. good session here, does Mikey. He goes over the line. 1 minute 30.3, goes 5th with that effort. Oscar will be looking to improve next time around. I don't think that time of 1 minute 31.7 is going to be enough for him. Here's Fake Scouser out on circuit, so we'll stay with him. Bowie's yet to come out of the pits as well in the Haas. Coming towards the second sector now. It's a 50.3 for Bruce, so he's definitely on course for a good time here. Serades is on a fast lap as well. Robin will be coming around to start his flying lap in the Aston Martin. Fake Scouser entering the last turn. This should put him into the 1 minute 30s here. It's a 1 minute 30.2, goes 4th. That's a very nice time there for Bruce, so he should safely be through to Q2 with that one. Warriors on a fast lap. Serades coming round the last turn in the Alpine. He goes 8th. So those on a 1 minute 31 will have to go again. The Warrior is looking to improve on his time. His last dregs of fuel at the moment is Warrior, but he's on the pit straight now. 1 minute 30.8 goes 12th. Lynx needs to get a lap on the board. Robin's still without a time as well, and he's running out of time to get a lap in. He'll be on his way back into the pits shortly. And Bowie's out on circuit now, so he needs to get into the 1 minute 30s to almost guarantee himself a place in Q2. Now, what will Lynx's time be like by sector 2, just to give us an idea as to where he is in comparison to the competition? It's a 50.5, which is not disastrous. So Lynx, one of 3 drivers yet to post a time so far. We've got just over 5 minutes remaining of Q1. In the bottom 5, we've got Carlos Killer, Miles, Lynx, Robin and Bowie. Statisticking will be joining them as well, regardless of what happens. Looking at the times now, he's actually 15th, so if anyone can get in front of him, we'll lose only 5 at the end of this Q1 session. Lynx goes over the line, and he goes 15th. So he's out of the bottom 5, so we will not lose 6 drivers at the end of this Q1 session as it stands, unless someone does decide to crash out on circuit. Hopefully that does not happen. Miles heading through sector 2. So 10th down from before, actually. We'll stay with him and see how he gets on in the last sector. He needs to find a much better lap time from before. He's gone off the track there, is Miles, unfortunately. I doubt that he's going to improve on this lap now. He's coming into the pits. It's 22.4 by sector 1 for Jack. Robin is out on circuit as well. He must be on the soft compound this time, which he is. He cannot afford any more mistakes. Bowie into sector 2. It's a 50.5. So he's just run about his teammates' pace. Not too shabby through turn 11. Now the last turn, DRS open. It's a 130.9, goes 14th. So Bowie out of the bottom 5 for now. Swinney is the one at risk in 15th. Scenarios decides to retire from the session, but he will be back for Q2, provided he does get through, of course. Now, who is on a fast lap at the moment? Don't seem to have anyone on the fast lap right now. Although Robin is about to start his in the Aston Martin. So he needs to make this count. Turns 1 and 2, fairly decent. So he's aiming for the low 22s through sector 1. So 22.3. So far, so good for him. Miles will be wanting to get back out on track as well. He's running out of time. 2 minutes remaining. And Miles has decided to retire from the session, so he's out of qualifying. So we've lost 2. Lynx is still in the pits at the moment, and I don't think he's going to go back out on circuit again. So Robin has kept his car within the track limit so far. Swinney's back out on circuit now in the McLaren, which is good to see because he is on the brink of being pushed into the drop zone by the looks of things with the way Robin is going about his business on this lap. Over the line comes Robin, and it's a 1 minute 30.1, goes 4. That's a very nice time there for him. So Swinney is into the drop zone now. Colours Killer is in there as well. What's he like through sector 2? He's only a 10th up from before, and at the moment, the way he's pushing, he would only go in front of Statistic King. So Lynx has left it too late, unfortunately, so he is out of qualifying, I'm afraid. Now Colours Killer is coming around the last corner now. The way this lap is going, I don't think he's going to move up out of the bottom 5 here. Moves up to 18th. Now he's got time to go again. He's exceeded track limits, so Colours Killer is out of qualifying. Lynx out of qualifying as well. Swinney, how's he getting on in through sector 2? Nearly 3 tenths up, so the Warrior is very much at risk of being knocked out. So Swinney in the McLaren is making his way through turn 11. To Bow say that is. Neat and tidy there through turn 12, otherwise known as Bendor. Could move as high up as 14th or 13th if he's lucky. Rear wing open. Swinney over the line. Can he get himself out of the bottom 5? The answer to that question is yes. He goes 9th. So the Warrior is out of qualifying. Warrior Huntsman trying to improve. He's not going to be improving on this effort here. Now I wonder if Lynx did actually get over the line in time. There may have been a glitch actually with the clock. So we'll stay with Lynx for now and see how he gets on. He's over a 10th up from before. What he needs is at the very minimum half a second over the course of the lap. So the Warrior Huntsman could still be pushed into the drop zone here with the way things are going. He's into the pits now, so can Lynx find any more time by Sector 2? The answer to that question is yes, but he's only 2 tenths up from before. He needs to make the last sector count, does Lynx. Trying to take a wide line through turn 12. Nicely done through there. Coming out of the last corner now, rear wing open on the Haas. Lynx over the line, and he's not made it. He's missed out. He did find another couple of tenths in the last sector alone, but he's missed out by 1/10 of a second. So Warrior Huntsman lives to fight another day. Lynx is out of qualifying, as is the Warrior, Carlos Killer, Statistic King, and Miles. The top 15 go through. Big Boss Bell's only 14th as well. Kevin, that is. Don't think he expects to be quite there. But Dixon is fastest throughout that qualifying session. But that's not good enough to put him on pole. That's just to get him through into Q2. So there we have it. We have our 5 eliminated drivers at the end of the first part of qualifying. So we're just waiting for this session to end, and we should crack on with Q2. So at the end of that Q1 session, the 5 eliminated drivers are Lynx, Warrior, Carlos Killer, Statistic King, and Miles. We'll be back for Q2 in a moment. Welcome back for Q2. We'll lose the next 5 service drivers at the end of this session before the top 10 battle it out for pole position in Q3. And looks like one of the Williams is heading out on track. That is Jack. And whilst we're waiting for some laps to come in, we'll run down on the calendar for the season. So we've had Imola, Silverstone, Baku and Melbourne. Today is Paul Ricard. Then we go to the Marina Bay Street Circuit in Singapore next week. And then Sochi on the 21st. And then we take a break for Christmas. And then we return in the new year at Budapest on the 4th of January. Red Bull Ring on the 11th. Spa on the 18th. Abu Dhabi on the 25th. And then the final 2 rounds of the season will be in Bahrain and Jeddah on the 1st and the 8th of February. This is a 13-round championship. Jack out there on the soft compound tyre. Fate Scouser on the mediums. William on mediums. Pimis on the softs. Rome's Republic on mediums. And Kevin on the mediums. So Jack wants to begin his first flying lap of Q2. Oh, he's lost it. And he's going to go into the barrier, I think. He's caught the barrier. Has he damaged the floor or the rear wing by doing that? Hopefully not. But that's his lap ruined. So we'll go to Bruce next, who's on a flying lap. There's Swinney just staying out of the way. Oh, he's lost it as well as Scouser. So Fake Scouser goes for a spin. So most will go to our next driver to go on board with. Rose Republic's just started his flying lap. There's Kevin, who's exceeded shot limits. So we'll stay with Pimis for now. 22.7 by sector 1. Go on to the Mistral straight. So through sector 2, it's 50.3 by this stage. Now, Pimis' fastest time in Q1 was a 1:30.3. I was hoping to go better in Q2 at this time. To look in his place for Q3. He was 8th fastest in Q1. Into the last sector he comes through now. So 1:30.6. It's not quick. It's not quicker than before. So he'll need to go again. Husband's exceeded track limits. Rose Republic coming over the line. 1:30.7 on the mediums. Not good enough at the moment. People's Bells has just started another flying lap. Approaching turn 3. So 50.7 by sector 2. People's Wells was only 14th in that session. We're 1:30.5. Championship contender looking to take the lead of this Sun-Ins after this round, but it's going to be very, very difficult with Dixon back in for tonight. I expect Kevin to be in the 1 minute 30s here. It's only a 1 minute 31.1, so not quick enough there for Big Boss Bells, unfortunately. So Swinney, who's on the soft compound, he's going over the line, and it's only good enough for third at the moment, 1:30.8, so there's definitely some time to be found for him, unfortunately. Here's Melios in the Red Bull, who's looking to improve or get a decent time on the board. His fastest time in Q1 was a 1:30.1. He's still not going to better that on the mediums. It's only a 1:31.1 on the mediums. He only goes 5th. Mikey in the Mercedes is coming through. 1:30.9. Good enough for 4th. Grades also on the mediums. Slowest of all the time so far, 1:31.6 for him. Jack has begun a fast lap. Robin has just gone off track. He's exceeded track limits. So Jack coming through into the second sector now. 50.5 on the mediums. That's a good time actually by this stage. Can he keep it up through the remainder of this lap though? You see the Aston Martin just staying out of the way ahead of him. Hopefully the turbulent air didn't catch Jack out. He's got a Mercedes in front of him now as well, who goes off track. Now Mikey needs to be careful here. He does not get in the way, which he doesn't do. So Jack in the Williams. 1:30.9, goes 5th. And Dixon is off track as well in... Oh, he's not off track in the Williams. He's coming over the line to start a fast lap. Into the hotel chicane. Just over 6 minutes remaining. Don't know whether Dixon's exceeded shot limits or something, but he's definitely not going very, very quick. We've got one of the AlphaTauris coming around to start a fast lap. That is Scenario, who's on the mediums. Dixon goes over the line, 1:30.2. Didn't see him clock that lap time actually. Is he being found in the wrong place on the racetrack or something? He's clocked his time there. I'm not sure that is correct, but we'll leave that for him to get in touch with me about. So Scenario looking to post a decent time here. Bowie's gone 9th on a 1:31.2, but he'll be aiming for better than that. That might be an old set of the soft compound that he used to do that lap on. And Swinney has decided to retire from the session. He might be back for Q3, depending on how the others get on. So the 5 in the bottom 5 are Fate Scouser, William, Scenario, Warrior Huntsman, and Robin. Rear wing open. Scenario over the line, and it's a 1:30.8, goes 5th. So he's ahead of a lot of those who have set their times on the mediums. Warrior Huntsman's about to cross over the line now on the medium compound, but only goes 11th. So he stays in the bottom 5. Therese is in there as well. He's out on circuit, though, on the soft compounds. So it's going to be a busy racetrack in the remainder of this session. Bowie's going for another run. He's on a new set of these soft compounds. And Therese has decided to retire from the session, so he's out of qualifying. 12th he's ended up. Warrior Huntsman is not on a fast lap. Didn't see how Bowie got on through sector 1, but we'll see how he's getting on through sector 2. Got one of the McLarens who's gone off track there. That'll be Warrior Huntsman. It's gone for a spin. Bowie coming through sector 2 now, though. Nearly 6/10 up from before. So we could see him leap up as high as maybe second. If I can find any more time in the last sector. So Bowie in the Haas, aiming for a place in Q3. And Bowie goes over the line, and he goes fastest, in fact. So he did find a heap of time in the last sector. So Jack Bowie, fastest of all in Q2. There are some who've set their times on the mediums, but that's nevertheless a good effort from him. So Faziosa on a fast lap, well, it was until he spun there at turn number 6. Just stays out of other drivers' way. There's Robin, who's about to start his final attempt in the Aston Martin. Struggled to get a time in Q1, remember. Oh, he's gone off track there, look. And he's exceeded track limits again. So Robin could well be out of qualifying now. Not good news for him. There are a lot of drivers out there. So William will be starting a fast lap shortly. And Warrior Huntsman is still in the pits, in fact, so his qualifying session is over. Bruce's qualifying session is nearly over as well, unless he can get a fast time in there. Just charging up the battery as well to prepare for his fast time he's about to go through now. I'll do his last attempt. So Bruce goes over the line. And William over the line as well in the Ferrari. Pimis is also out on circuit. Dixon's just started his last attempt. He's on the soft compound, actually. I'm actually surprised he's decided to go out there on the set of softs, unless he decides to back off before he gets to the line. There's Bruce, who's already 3/10 up from before, through sector 1. Now he needs to be at the very minimum, the low 50s, by sector 2. How's he going to get on through here? Nicely done there, not taking too much curb. So through sector 2, it's a 50.2. So Robin is out of qualifying. He didn't get over the line in time. Manios and Kevin are at risk of being knocked out, would you believe it? They're very much on the cusp here. So Bruce turning into the last corner now. Not too much curve on the inside. Rear wing open on the pit straight. He comes. And he's run out of fuel, in fact. So, he just gets over the line in 9th place. William goes up to 3rd. And that means that Kevin and Malios have both been knocked out. Dixon goes fastest on the 129.8 on the soft compounds, but Kevin is one of those we lose at the end of Q2, and Milio's as well. That's a bit of a shock, actually. I expected those two to be up there with the likes of where Dixon, Berry and William are, but they won't be for Q3. So the bottom five, or the five drivers, I should say, that we lose at the end of Q2 are Kevin, Milios, Warrior Huntsman, Terades, and Robin. Here's Dixon. Is he going for another attempt here? I'm not too sure. The session should end any second, and we'll crack on with Q3. So here are your five drivers out. They are Kevin, who will start 11th on the grid, Milo's 12th, Warrior Huntsman, Terades and Robin also join them on the sidelines. We'll be back for the final part of qualifying very shortly. So there are the two. Well, there's a Williams heading out. That is Jack. And we've got the Alpha Tauri there. Is that Scenario following him, or is that Romans Republic? I can't really tell. No, it's Romans Republic who's behind him. So we should see a few drivers out onto the racetrack right now to do their first runs, to see who will be on pole position for the French Grand Prix in Tier 1 in the Formula Racing League. So we've got the Mercedes heading out now of Mikey. Don't know whether we'll see Bruce and Jack on track straight away. They may just do the one run in Q3. Bruce is heading out now. So we've got 9 of the 10 cars on circuit. Jack is about to start his first time lap now in the Williams. So through turns 1 and 2. And Jack has exceeded track limits, unfortunately, so may as well come away from him. Here's Rome's Republic going through turns 1 and 2. Nicely done. (22-0) by sector 1 for him. Now Romans will be looking to keep it up here through the remainder of the lap. So Romans needs to just make sure he keeps his car within the track limits, which he does so. It was a 49.9 by sector 2 for him. For a pole lap here, we are expecting around the mid 1 minute 29s. Romans Republic, he's got to hope he doesn't get held up here by Bruce, which I don't think he will do. He'll get a nice toe on the pit straight. Romans Republic over the line. It's a 1:29.4. That's a brilliant lap time there from Romans. He sets the benchmark for others to be. Well, there you go. Look, Dixon's beaten that. 1 minute 29.2. That's 2 tenths faster than what the Slovakian has done. And then we've got Pimis going third on a 1 minute 30.1. William is next in the Ferrari. He's on the pit straight. Only good enough for fourth at the moment, 1:30.4. Mikey's exceeded track limits. Scenario continuing on. There is Swinney in the McLaren, hoping to be in the top 5 for the start of this race. Of course, he would want to be on pole, but he has to be realistic. 1 minute 30.4, only good enough for fifth, so the slowest of all the times so far. Scenario's next to come through in the AlphaTauri. Over the line he comes, 1 minute 30.0, goes third, so just behind his teammate. So Scenario having a better qualifying than we have seen from him in previous rounds. Here is Bruce. Aiming for a good lap here. Can he maybe get into the 1 minute 29s? I don't think he can. It's going to be a 1 minute 30.4, goes sixth. So he goes in front of Swinney. There's no one else on a fast lap right now by the looks of things. Mikey will go again in the Mercedes, so we'll stay with him. There's no one in front of him who could potentially impede him, though Bruce has just gone through turn 4. But Mikey should be okay, but he's lost it on the exit of turn 2. So that's his lap over on that occasion. I just wonder when will Jack Bowie decide to go out on the circuit. I've seen Bruce going faster than he did so before through sector 1. So he's worth keeping an eye on. His ERS is running out though. Let's see what his time in sector 2 is like. 49.9, so 2 cents up from before. So through Debose. There's one of the AlphaTauri staying out of the way. That's Scenario. This could be the part of the lap where Bruce finds a heap of time, although he may lose some time on the pit straight because of the low amount of ERS he's got left in stock. And this is where he ran out of fuel when he was doing his run in Q2. But let's see how he gets on here. Rear wing open on the Alfa Romeo. And he goes up to third place with that, into the 1 minute 29s. So Bruce having the time of his life so far here in Paul Ricard. Mikey into the pits for Mercedes. There's Jack Berry on circuit. We expect this to be his only run of the session. And Bruce has run out of fuel on circuit, hence why you can see the yellow flag on the graphic. Got 4.5 minutes remaining of qualifying. Can anyone beat Dixon to pole position? Jack Bray will be hoping to be one of those to do that, but it's going to be very, very hard with Dixon's lap time as fast as it has been. So through sector 1, Bowie comes. Coming into sector 1, can he get maybe into the 21s? Don't think he can on this occasion. It's just a 22.2 for the Haas driver. And I'll be aiming for the 49s by sector 2 here. I don't think he's going to be able to achieve that. Let's see. Or he does achieve that. So 49.9 by sector 2 for Jack. So Bruce makes his way back into the pit lane now in the Alfa Romeo. Jack continues on. Can he get into the 1 minute 29s? He may do so. If he does so, he's more likely to go in front of Bruce. So onto the pit straight, rear wing open. Bowie over the line for Haas. 1 minute 30.0, goes 5th. That's a fine effort. Now we've got cars on circuit now, scenarios out on track. Rowan's raring to go for his last run. One minute 29.4 was what he said earlier. It's going to be very hard for him to beat his own time. It's one of the quickest we've seen all session. Let's see how he gets on through sector 1. Oh, he's exceeded track limits, so he may as well back out of it. He's got time to get round and go again. Scenario has just started his lap. Don't think it was particularly quick coming out of there, to be honest with you. He's got traffic coming up ahead of him now. That's Pimis in front of him. Will he stay out of the way? He can stay out of the way. Dixon's in front of him as well. Scenario 3 tenths down from before, so I'm not sure if it's even worth carrying on with this lap, to be honest with you. Oh, and Dixon didn't see Scenario in time. Now, maybe it'll be a glitch. It's not really what you want to be seeing. Mikey is going quick through sector 1, but not the quickest we've seen. It's only a 22.4 by this stage of the lap. It's coming into the Mistral chicane, and he's got 5 cars on the straight there ahead of him. He's exceeded track limits again, though, so Mikey may as well back out of it. Now, I wonder what Jack will be thinking. Has he got time to go again? He hasn't got time to go in the pits and change tyres, so he will go again for one last attempt. So Jack going again in the Haas. Bruce in the pits, not going out again, unfortunately. So into the last 30 seconds of the last part of qualifying. And Dixon, who is still ahead by 0.2 of a second. There's Romans Republic going faster than before through sector 1. 600s up from before, but he's exceeded track limits again, unfortunately. So he's out of the running for pole position now. That's a big, big shame. His time in sector 2, he would have been 4,000s up by this stage. How is Jack getting on through sector 2? Quicker than before, but not by much. So can the man from Bristol move up the order and get onto the second row of the grid? very much possible with the way the track is evolving. So he's entering the last corner now. Takes a wide line on entry. Rearing open. And he goes up to third place. Very nice that there from Jack. What about Scenario? He's coming over the line. William goes sixth. Scenario goes up to third place. So Bowie's down to fourth. What about Pimis? How's he getting on? Fourth place for him. So Bowie back down to fifth. Jack goes fourth. We're 129.7. Mikey next for Mercedes. Only good enough for eighth. Swinney over the line for McLaren. Goes up to third place. Very nicely done there from Michael Winfield to get himself up there in the McLaren. Very, very nicely indeed. And that concludes qualifying with Dixon on pole for the fourth time this season for Williams. Romans Republic will join him on the front row next to him. Swinney third for McLaren ahead of Scenario alongside. Then it's Jack and Pimis on the third row. Bowie and Bruce line up next to each other on the fourth row. Jack will be gutted. He felt third was there for him. Mikey will start ninth ahead of William, running out the top 10. A brilliant Q3 session, but there is still the race to come. Who will win the French Grand Prix? We are set to go for the formation lap for this 27-lap French Grand Prix. Tier 1 in the 4-minute racing league with Dixon on pole. Will it be him who extends his championship lead? Watch out for Kevin as well. He'll be starting 11th in the Ferrari. The formation that begins and a chance to run down on the grid. So Dixon on pole with Romans alongside. Swinney and Scenario line up next to each other on the second row. Then we've got Jack and Pimis on row 3 with Bowie and Bruce on the fourth row. Mikey and William round out the top 10. Kevin and Manios are on row 6, followed by Warrior Huntsman and Terades. Robin and Lynx make up row 8, ahead of the Warrior and Carlos, with King and Miles rounding off the grid. So in terms of strategy, well, it's very much a variation between the whole field. Now Dixon, Swinney, Pimis, Bowie, Bruce and William on the soft compound because they set their fastest Q2 time in order to get into Q3 on. Romans, Scenario, Jack, Mikey, Big Boss Bells, Warrior Huntsman, Lynx, Statistic King and Miles are on the mediums. The rest are all on hards. So Dixon has only won twice this season. He won out at Imola convincingly. And doing so again in Baku. He hasn't had everything all go his way this season. He had to make do with a second place finish behind Lezard at Silverstone. Lezard came in as a reserve, remember. So Dixon will lead the field onto the grid for the start of this race. And we should be done in around 14 minutes' time, depending on safety cars, of course. So Dixon on the left-hand side with Romans Republic alongside. Dixon may have the advantage, the tyre advantage at the start. Watch out for Swinney as well, who is on the soft compound in the McLaren. So the whole field is back on the grid now. There is Miles taking up the last spot on the grid. We're ready to go then. The engines roar. The drivers stare at the 5 red lights that illuminate. When they go out, we're racing here in France. It's lights out, and away we go. Romans Republic gets off to the best of starts, actually. Dixon reacted poorly to the lights, but somehow he keeps hold of the lead going into turn 1. There's Swinney on the inside there, like a Romans Republic. Into the first chicane they go. Romans Republic keeps his nose in it, but it's Swinney who goes into second place. There's a few incidents at the back. Links has spun round, I believe, in the Haas. We'll go to it shortly, but Dixon remains in front, ahead of Swinney in second place. It's Romans Republic in third. Then it's the second winnings of Jack, who's under threat from Pimis alongside. The two make contact. Pimis goes off track. Now he's got to be careful not to gain an advantage by going off there. He's got in front of Jack, but surely he must give up that position because he gained the position by going off track. He's letting him through now, look. So Dixon leads ahead of Swinney, ahead of Romans Republic. Jack, Pimis, Mikey up to 6th place. Scenario down to 7th. Berry, Bruce and Kevin make up the top 10 so far. You can see Bruce on the inside there, look, through the mischarge chicane. There's an incident set to 2. Manios may have had a bit of a moment with Therese, but has continued. And it looks like Robin has got himself some damage there. His Link's got a bit of damage, I'm not too sure. He may well have done. And now Pimis has got in front of Jack this time. Or has he? Because Jack is still there. And Pimis gets through, this time legally, ahead of the Williams. So it's the start that Dixon wanted. He didn't react the best from the lights. There's no DRS, of course, for the first 2 laps. And look at the lead that Dixon's got already. 2 seconds it is. So he's more than enough to keep himself out of DRS range. And there's Bruce, oh, is that Pimis, sorry, on the inside of Jack in turn 1. Oh, it's coming together between the AlphaTauri Scenario and the Alfa Romeo of Fate Scouser, and Scenario trying to get back onto the circuit, but he's spun round. His race is horribly ruined after a brilliant qualifying. Goes through the polystyrene blocks. He cannot keep the car points in the right way. So that's a bad dent to his race there, unfortunately, for Scenario. He's back on track now. I was watching his teammate, Romans Republic, close in on Swinney in the battle for P2. Pimis ahead of Jack. Contact there between the Alfa Romeo and the Williams, but nothing more than that. There is Kevin, who's now up to 7th place. He started on the medium compound. And it shouldn't be too long before those on the soft compound start to really fall away. So we are expecting Romans Republic to be in the lead in a few laps' time. I know the Savakian is right on the tail of Swinney. There's no DRS still at the moment, so he won't have it on the pit straight on this occasion. Swinney is ducking into the pits, so lap 2, and Swinney has decided to duck into the pits for a change of tyres. Now, I would imagine he's going to go onto a 2-stop strategy. If this is that early in the race to be making a tyre change, you may as well go aggressive. And he is going to go aggressive. It's the medium compound going on to the McLaren. He'll go to the back of the field, but at least he'll have track position. Those Breeze trying to make up ground after that, coming together with Scenario a lap ago. He's not able to get through on Warrior Huntsman, and that's the Warrior off track in the Alpine. So that's the Alpine going backwards. Down to 17th position he goes now, and Scenario is just in front of Swinney. So this is not actually the kind of track position that Swinney was after coming into the pits. But at least he'll have DRS actually behind Scenario, which can help him get in front. So we're on lap 3 of this race. Bruce on the inside of Warrior Huntsman for 10th place, and he goes through nicely, so it's a good move. Contact there between Miles and Carlos into the Mistral chicane. Miles gets through. But that was so easy could have been damaged there for the Mercedes and the Aston Martin. Statistic King trying to make up ground after a poor qualifying session. So Carlos looking to hold him back, but for how long? And there's Statistic King on the inside. Lynx has made contact with William. Lynx has gone for a spin at Debose. And I think William will probably come into the pits now, to be honest with you. He's suffering horrible understeers. He made contact with someone during the course of this race. He may well have done. Statistic King on the outside. Can he get through ahead of the Aston Martin? No contact made. Side by side with the DRS for both. No, Statistic King through on the outside. Contact made. Statistic King does get through. Oh, there's been an incident though. Who's that spun round? Is that Mikey that spun round? Can't quite tell. It might have been Bruce actually. He's lost places. Just seen Warrior Huntsman get the first time penalty though. It's just seen a bang there from what might have been the Alpine of the Warrior, who is under threat from Robin behind. Williams down to 17th place now in the Ferrari, so he's not having the best of races. Jack in front of Pimis now for 3rd place. So Romans Republic closing in on Dixon. Mikey in 4th place now ahead of Pimis. Mikey able to get through on this occasion. William with a time penalty for track limits. So 3 seconds it will be for him. So it's lap 4. A lot of the drivers are running out of ERS. Others are managing their ERS well. You can see Romans Republic is on 57% ERS usage. And there's Pimis coming into the pits at the end of lap 4. So what strategy is this going to be for him? There's someone going for a spin. That'll be Scenario having yet another spin in the AlphaTauri. Mikey's now ahead of Jack for 3rd place. So Mikey up into the top 3. As we watch Statistic King go to the outside of Miles, and he's through into 10th place. So Pimis will rejoin behind Swinney. He'll be well ahead of Scenario, so at least Pimis will have a bit of clean air. He'll be going on to a 2-stop strategy for sure. And Miles now with a time penalty for track limits. 4 drivers with time penalties so far. There's Kevin up to 5th. Can he make a move on the Williams? Jack Berry closing in behind as well. Oh, that's Jack off! Into the barrier, and his race is surely over now. But remarkably, it's not. He's reset to the track though. That is against the rules. So there'll be a penalty coming his way for sure. And look at this. The driver's having to dodge all the way round him. So there's going to be a hefty punishment coming Jack's way after that. Totally inexcusable. Dixon into the pits now for Williams. So Romans Republic will lead the race in the AlphaTauri. Mediums go on for him. And Bruce also in for Alfa Romeo. Jack unsurprisingly into the pits for a new nose cone. But his race is wrecked now after that spin into the barrier. Miles into the pits and out of the race. So he's had enough. So Miles becomes the first retirement of this race. There's Kevin, who's in 3rd place now on the track. Can he make it 2nd? He approaches the Mercedes of Mikey going into the Mistral chicane. Doesn't go for it from there. The two filter their way through the sequence of turns. Kevin will want to get into the slipstream of the Mercedes before he decides to have a go into Debose. It's not necessarily the best overtaking spot. Mikey nearly dropping it there on the exit of the corner, but gathered it all up. And Bowie into the pits now for Alfa Romeo, but we'll just watch Kevin as he makes a move on the Mercedes. And this is surely a pass for second place into turn one. And Kevin's through. Nicely done. Bowie goes on to a set of the mediums. So I would think he's going to be in for another stop before this race is over. The rejoin behind Pimis will be well ahead of Scenario. So Bowie rejoins in 16th. There's Romans Republic continuing on his way. Absolutely flying at the moment. And here's Marios, who's running in 4th position. No time penalty to his name at the moment. There's Warrior on the threat there from Dixon. He's trying to make his way back through the field. And the Warrior decides not to really fight it. So Dixon's through into 8th. And look at this from Romans Republic is coming over the line to start lap 8. Bruce now with a time penalty for track limits. Likewise for Jack. Rear wings open on the Aston Martins as Robin looks to make a move on his teammate. Dixon posts the new fastest lap. Robin through ahead of his teammate, no problem. And there's Terrace behind Marios. William with the time penalty now. That's the second one of the race, unfortunately. He's not having a good race at all. He's trying to go long on his softs, but his softs are fading fast. And Bowie's now right on his tail. William lets him through easily there. Doesn't even fight it. He must surely be thinking about coming in for a pit stop at the end of this lap. And if so, what compound is he going to go on? Probably the most sensible option is to go onto the hards, but I'm not sure that's the tyre he wants to be on. There's Dixon behind Statistic King. And Williams carried on in the Ferrari. Bowie with a new fastest lap. So he's on good form here today. No time penalty so far for him. Mikey now closing in on the Ferrari of Kevin as they approach the Mistral chicane. Dixon on the inside of Statistic King into the chicane, and he's through into P7. Missile wants to keep his car on the track. Don't want to go off track like that too many times. So there's Bowie on 3-lap hold mediums against Lynx, who's been on the medium since the start of the race. And William must surely be thinking about coming in for a stop at the end of this lap. You really cannot be enjoying these tyres. And Carlos Killer's gone for a spin on the exit of turn 12, but has continued. So at least that's one less car, I would think, for Bowie to get past. Although he will need to pass Carlos, actually. There's Jack. No contact made through there. He'll have the rear wing open, but so will Carlos, actually. So Jack's going to find it very tough to get through ahead of him. He's into the slipstream. He's on the inside into turn 1. Does he get through? Keeps his nose in it, and Carlos has to accept defeat on that occasion. Bruce now ahead of William for 16th place. Scenario will surely follow through. Bowie now with a time penalty for track limits, unfortunately. And William just lets Scenario through. It's been a race to forget. It's been a day to forget for William. He's been on those soft compound tyres far too long now. See how much they've grained. Oh, and Jack nearly dropping it there at the chicane, but continues. And he's not even using his ERS, actually, is William. And will he duck into the pits at the end of this lap? He doesn't, actually, so he carries on for another lap. Surely those tyres cannot last now. It cannot last too much longer. And this is Mikey, looking to get in front of Kevin again here. Waits behind, doesn't go for it. Ray's now in front of Malios for 4th place. Malios with a time penalty for track limits now, unfortunately. He's running in the 11th spot. Bowie now ahead of his Haas teammate Lynx for tonight. Warrior ahead of Statistic King as well in the battle for 8th place. Concept made a little bit between the two. Robin trying to take advantage. He may even get through on the Warrior, but wisely slots back in behind. So, Cairnes Republic has started the 12th lap of this 27-lap event. Now William surely must pit in at the end of this lap. Those soft compound tyres will be crying enough. And yeah, he does finally pit in. I'd be shocked if he didn't. But it's been a day to forget for him. He's got to hope for a safety car later on. Isn't there any other battles happening at the moment? We can see the Warrior trying to get back through on Statistic King for 8th. He's through ahead of him. It's the hard compound tyres going on for William. So at least he can go aggressive on this last stint. Doesn't need to worry about managing tyres. With the rear wing not open at the moment, didn't use it on this occasion. And Swinney closing in as Lynx comes into the pits for Haas. Warrior now with a time penalty for track limits. I think softs going on for Lynx, so he's definitely going on to a 2-stop because there's no way he'll get to the end on a set of softs. And there's Minos on the inside of Terades for 4th position now. It's the only drivers yet to stop in this race. They are the top 6, with Warrior, Statistic Inc., Carlos and Scenario. There's a lot of strategy going on at the moment. Into sector 2, is that Jack who's gone for a spin? It is, and he's continued. Falls behind Lynx now, though. Rose Republic coming round to start lap 14. He's hardly been troubled since Dixon ducked into the pits. Dixon at the moment is 13 seconds off the lead and posting a new fastest up of the race. I wonder how long Roman's Republic will remain out there on the medium compounds. So they've definitely passed their best now. I think the way he's managing them is brilliant. And Bruce with another time penalty for track limits. And the clouds are coming over now on the Paul Ricard circuit. Is that an ominous sign for rain? Answers on the postcard. Statistic King's fallen down 2 positions. I think by how clark those clouds are, I think we are going to be seeing some rain. It's certainly very dark at the moment. There's no rain hitting the track yet. And someone's gone for a spin in sector 3. That's the Warrior. Off there on the exit of turn 12. He joins behind Bowie. As Dixon posts yet another fastest lap. He's now ahead of Warrior Huntsman. Going after Terades. William with another time penalty. It's able to 9 seconds now. So Swinney moving ahead of Robin for 8th position. Dixon Not able to get in front of Therese. Contact made. Surely that's damaged the car, hasn't it? Well, Dixon's got through on this occasion. They won't want him making contact like that too many times. The gap between him and the leader is now down to 10.5 seconds. So Dixon behind Malios. They fight over 4th place. Smith ahead of Statistic King now for 10th. Dixon behind Malios with the rear wing open now and goes through into 4th position. Dixon on a mission to take his 3rd victory of the campaign. Kevin's still yet to stop in this race. And the rain has started to fall on the Paul Ricard circuit. Now those who have not pitted yet, they will want to extend their stints on the tyres that they are currently on to save themselves a pit stop. Now this could be bad news for Dixon actually. If he really wants to win this race, he's going to have to do it all on the circuit. Malios has gone for a spin in the Red Bull. Off track. He rejoins down in 7th place. There'll be a couple laps at least yet before we do see some pit lane activity. And Statistic King has decided to duck into the pit lane. I would imagine he'll go straight onto the intermediates. The green side marked intermediates going on. And imagine that Warrior is going to go onto the same set as well. So can they gain any ground by going early? There's William off track in the Ferrari. It's on a long way off there actually at turn 10. It's nearly down the lap actually, is William, so they want to try and stay on the lead lap in case there is a safety car. There's Dixon behind Mikey. Round the outside he goes, and that's him through into P3. So Dixon doing the best he can in the tricky conditions now. Now, I think those have gone onto the intermediates. I think they've gone on them too soon. Williams in the pits now for a new nose cone. And Malios, Robin and Swinney are also in. So can they gain by pitting before the leaders? As Malios go back out on the set of intermediates now. You can see the raindrops in the pit lane. And look at the raindrops. Surely Romans Republic will be thinking that the time is now right to duck into the pits for intermediates. Just watch Warrior Huntsman and Serades fight over 5th position as well. And Rose Republic must surely be thinking about pitting in. Dixon's right behind Kevin now in the battle for P2. The DRS will be disabled shortly. And Rose Republic is in for the intermediates. And Dixon having a bit of a drag race actually with Kevin. He's just got through ahead of him. I'm not sure Kevin will be too pleased with that. Mikey also in for Mercedes to raids as well. Warrior Huntsman also in. And there's no question that Primus and Bowie will be in as well. So how much time has Milio's gained from pitting the lap earlier? Probably not a lot, to be honest with you. Romans Republic still rejoins in the lead. Dixon in P2. Big Boss Bell's third. Mikey fourth. Raids fifth. Warrior Huntsman sixth. So Milio's would go up to P7 now in the Red Bull. So it's gained a couple of positions, I think, from pitting earlier. Not that much different in terms of the orders to what it was earlier. With Swinney struggling to get through turn 1 actually. And Primus on the inside of Robin into turn 3. Does he go for it? Goes out onto the curves. There's contact made. Primus felt that Robin should have given him more space. We're into the last third of the race now. Dixon still in the fight for this victory. There is a Ferrari ahead of him who's a lap down. That is William. Everyone is on the intermediates now. Bowie with another time penalty. He is not having a good day when it comes to penalties. 6 seconds he's on now. So as it stands, he would not actually lose a position. He'll still keep hold of 11th spot. He might even, if he's lucky, get in front of Robin, who's on 9 seconds worth of time penalty. The DRS has been disabled, by the way. So Dixon won't quite get that benefit on the pit straight. Mikey now with a time penalty for short limits. That's his chance of a podium pretty much gone now. And there's Kevin lining P3 in the Ferrari. From lap 20, Romans Republic's lead is 3.2 seconds over Dixon, who's closing him down all the time. Dixon will be thinking more about the championship, I would have thought, but he wants that victory. And Swinney behind Milio's. As it stands, he would not move up any positions, even with the penalties those ahead of him have got. Collars with a time penalty now for short limits. He's running in 15th. Wouldn't lose any positions as it stands. And Milio's is out. He's crashed out in the Red Bull. Now, is that going to trigger a safety car? It's a virtual safety car, but it could still upgrade to a safety car with his trying. Now we've got a safety car. Now that could change things. Romans Republic's lead has been wiped out thanks to the safety car. Now, are we going to see any pit lane activity? Is anyone going to duck into the pits? I don't quite think so. But Milio's becomes the second driver to retire from this race whilst running in P7. He was on course for a good haul of points there, but has thrown it all away by himself. And there's Dixon closing right up on Romans Republic now. Just needs to be careful not to make contact with him. I reckon the safety car will be out there for probably another lap or so. Scenario and Jack coming into the pits for another set of intermediates. They haven't got anything to lose, these two. William with another time penalty for track limits. That's just adding insult to injury in what's been a very disappointing race for him. So Jack rejoins in 17th place, Scenario in 16th. So here's your top 10. Romans Republic in front with Dixon second, Kevin third, Mikey fourth, Terades fifth, Warrior Huntsman sixth, Swinney seventh, Robin eighth, Pimis ninth, and Bowie 10th. Bearing in mind some drivers are on time penalties, others are not. So the safety car will stay out there for one more lap. Also wait for Scenario and Jack to catch up to the rest of the field, and we should get back underway, which should be for a 5-lap shootout. We're on lap 21, but we're going to go into lap 22 under the safety car. So field going through the Mistral Straight. If it was to end as it is with the order, Dixon would come away with 34 points. Kevin would get only 26, so Dixon will have an 8-point lead. And should Romans Republic hang on to the race win, we move on to 72 points, which would see him move into 4th place in the drivers' standings, I believe, although Mikey may move up to 3rd position. So Romans Republic at the moment on course to move up from 5th, so move up from 11th to 5th. So the safety car's still out. Hopefully it'll duck into the pits at the end of this lap. And it's going to do so. So Romans Republic will want to back up the field, and he will go when he is ready to do so. You can see all the tyre marks on track with all the water lying around. And Romans Republic hold on for victory at Paul Ricard. Now, is he going to leave it until the last minute? He's not gone yet. Still hasn't gone yet. Mike gets a time penalty for contact with William. We're back underway, and Dixon seems to have got in front illegally there. Did he go past Romans Republic before the start-finish line? It looks like he did. We're back underway anyway. But I wonder if the stewards will have a look at that, because Dixon surely must give up that position. Well, Therese has been given a penalty for ignoring yellow flags. No, we'll leave that for the stewards to decide, but Dixon is into the lead of the French Grand Prix. Mikey's in front of Big Boss Bells for 3rd place. An incident set to 1. Someone has gone round. I don't know who it is. Swinney's down to 16th place, would you believe it? So he's had a coming together with someone, and his front wing's damaged. So Swinney's race has gone from bad to worse. That's such a appalling lot there for the McLaren driver. And Statistic King could be on course to move up a handful of positions here, because he's not got a time penalty to his name, neither has Pimis. So both could move up the order handsomely. And it seems as though Dixon has given the lead back to Romans Republic. So Romans Republic back into the lead. Mikey now second, but will drop down a couple of positions as it stands because of his time penalty. So Dixon will want to get on with this hit here. Makes contact with the Mercedes. He's desperate to get in front of him, isn't he? Warrior Huntsman's dropped down the order as well in the McLaren. So McLaren's race has gone from bad to worse. There's Colours Killer almost making contact there with Warrior, who's gone off track. It's getting a bit messy out there at the moment. There is Scenario trying to get in on the act. Swinney into the pits for McLaren. I would imagine this will be race over for him, to be honest with you. He'll be out of the points. And down Dixon. Still trying to find a way past Mikey. On the inside, does he go through this? Contact made! Mikey was up in the air for a moment. And Dixon, remarkably, getting through. That was very robust there from Dixon, but he's through anyway. Kevin looking to do as well. Jack gets another time penalty for track limits. Dixon right on Romans Republic's tail now. In the battle for the race win. The rain's getting worse now out on circuit. Don't suppose drivers will be thinking about getting full wets on. It's probably too dry for that. Swinney with another time penalty. Dixon all over the gearbox of Romans Republic. That's the two. Head through turns 14 and 15. Dixon on the inside of Romans Republic. This is it. Romans Republic ran out wide there. And Dixon's into the lead at last, or is he? Because Romans Republic is still there, but Dixon is more than a car's length in front. So Dixon into the lead. Romans Republic won't be too pleased with that. He'll feel that he was being pushed off the track there by the Williams. But Dixon is into the lead with 3 laps remaining of this race. And Dixon now has a time penalty for track limits. So this could change things. Not only would he lose the race win, he would fall behind his title rival Kevin. And the only way for that to change is if, one, Kevin gets the time penalty of himself, and Romans Republic possibly as well, or if he can bridge out a 3-second margin. So the gap at the moment is 1 second, so he needs to pull out another couple of seconds if he is to win this race. Dixon is looking to hold on here, just needs to pull out that 3-second margin. He's got just over a couple of laps to do it. He's 1.5 seconds clear now, so he's halfway to his target. Nearly dropping it though. You can see how hard he's pushing there. Two to go then. William with another time penalty, taking his total to 18 seconds. 1.8 seconds is the gap. Jack getting in front of Colours Killer on the road. And there we can see all the time penalties on screen. Can Dixon hold on to the victory? Or is it going to be Romans Republic standing on the top step? Well, I can tell you he is ahead of Kevin now, so Kevin is more than 3 seconds behind Dixon. So as it stands, Dixon would still finish second and keep hold of the championship lead. And it looks like Williams gone for a spin in the Ferrari. And Robin now ahead of Terrace on track. They did bang wheels for a moment. Pimis looking to take advantage. And Bowie's down the order as well in the Haas. That's a bad disappointment for him. So he's fallen down the order to 14th place. Make that 15th now. So he's going to be at the lower end of the points by the end of today. You can see the gap now is 2.7 seconds between Dixon and Rome's Republic. Dixon is almost there now. He's got one more lap to just bridge out another couple of tenths. And he's there now. He's at that 3-second gap. Unbelievable stuff from Dixon. So as it stands, it's going to be Dixon ahead of Rome's Republic and Kevin in the top 3. And it's going to be Pimis in 4th. And it could well be Statisticking in 5th place. Carlos Killer's gone for a spin at turn 2, but has continued. We're now on the last lap of this Grand Prix. And Robin's fallen down the order now in the other Aston Martin. So he's dropped down there at turn number 5 by the looks of it. Oh, and that's scenario into the wall for Aston Martin. Not Aston Martin, in the AlphaTauri. And there's Statisticking and Jack going toe-to-toe as well into the Mistral chicane. Jack looking to stay in there. Statisticking holds on to P8. We'll go back to Dixon, because we are now at the end of that. Look how hard the rain is coming down now as well. Dixon just wants this race to be over. We've got a few more corners to get through before he sees the checkered flag. It's been a brilliant comeback drive from Dixon. And could that define where this championship goes? Look at him drifting his way through the last turn. Dixon onto the pit straight. He's going to win the French Grand Prix at Paul Ricard for Williams. Dixon extends his lead at the top of the championship standings. Rome's Republic comes home in 2nd place for AlphaTauri. It was very nearly the victory for him. Big Boss comes home 3rd. A nice result for him and for Ferrari. Pimis up to 4th with the penalties applied, so a good result for him and very much needed as well. Mikey is 5th for Mercedes. Statisticking 6th after started at the back of the grid. Excellent stuff from him. Lynx in 7th place. He didn't expect that. Jack in 8th. Terades 9th. Bruce running out the top 10. Warrior 11th. Robin 12th. Carlos 13th. Warrior Huntsman 14th. And Scenario will hold on, minus the front wing, to the final point in 15th place. Swinney is going to miss out on points in 16th place. Bowie is going to do so as well. William down a lap in 18th place. But there's your race winner. It is Dixon in the Williams at Paul Ricard. So there is your top 3 on the podium. Dixon celebrating. He now has a 16-point lead over his rival, Kevin, going into the next round of the championship. He'll be very happy with that. So your race results sees Dixon win and get the point for the fast lap and the point for pole position. Rome's Republic in 2nd place for AlphaTauri. Kevin 3rd for Ferrari. Pimis 4th for Alfa Romeo. That is his best result of the season so far. Mikey 5th for Mercedes. Statisticking in a fine 6th place after starting 19th. Lynx 7th, another brilliant drive from him. Jack recovering well to 8th. Terades 9th. Bruce running out the top 10. The Warrior was 11th, followed by Robin. Carlos 13th for him. Warrior Huntsman 14th. Scenario in a very disappointing 15th after starting on the 2nd row. And the same for Swinney, down to 16th from 3rd on the grid. What might have been for him. Jack Bowie 17th for him. No points for one of the admins of the FRL. William, the last of the finishers, in 18th place. Manios and Miles were the only drivers that did not finish the race. So the championship, as I've already mentioned, 16 points is the gap between Dixon and Kevin going into the next round of the championship, which will be in Singapore at the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Thank you for joining us. Do make sure you like and subscribe, and we can't wait to do it all over again, same time next week. I'm Tom Cairnes, and I'll speak to you again soon when the Formula Racing League returns.